Hey everybody, it's Katie. Today I want to talk about bonding with your new baby. So whether you are about to pop or have recently given birth, this video is for you. I want to talk about some ideas for bonding, why it's important, and also why you shouldn't feel bad at all if you don't feel super bonded to your baby right away. I have two daughters and I experienced bonding differently with each one of them. With my oldest, when she was first born, I know there was a connection because I had a really deep sense of duty to protect her and to be with her and to have her close to me, but I didn't really feel that gushing, bonding, or bonded like, I just didn't really feel that. And as a result, I felt really, really guilty. Now it came, but I think that the lack of sleep and the fact that my body hurt, and I didn't really know what to expect every single day. I didn't really know what was going to happen next. I just felt really overwhelmed, and I think that kind of got in the way of being able to enjoy that sweet time in the first few weeks when your baby's essentially a bump on a log and all they want to do is be on top of you, a warm little ball. I eventually did get there, but I think that I dealt with a little bit of postpartum depression as well. And actually, real quick, if you are interested, we did a video on postpartum depression with one of my sweet friends. We talked about it, and it's a great video if you are interested or if you feel like you might want to check that out. You might be dealing with it a little bit yourself. Nothing to be ashamed of. Check it out. It's a really good resource, and there's also more resources listed within the videos. My second daughter was a different story. I felt bonded to her pretty much immediately, and I think there's a few things that kind of came into play there. One, and the biggest thing, I think, is I knew what to expect. Yeah, my body hurt, and yeah, I was tired, but I also knew that this time frame, the first few weeks, it's really fleeting, and it feels overwhelming, and you're like, but I knew from my first child that it was going to come to an end, and I also kind of knew what to expect as far as what this little tiny person needed. So my experiences were really different, and I definitely don't feel any guilt about the first one because I think it's normal for some people anyway, to not really get that right away. But I'm definitely bonded with both of them great now at 6 and 2. So here in the West, there is this weird pressure that's put on moms to get your body back and get back into business and get the kids to school, and we don't want to inconvenience people because we're the mom and we've got this, right? We can do this. We can do all things. And I feel like that is a really big thing. The other part of it, and definitely something that I dealt with a lot with my first and a little bit with my second as well, is I wanted to have a little bit of freedom. I wanted to get out and go do stuff, but I couldn't really. I hurt, and I had this little tiny baby, and I missed my quote freedom. And so I think that it's important to, when you're coming up on having this baby and you're getting ready and you're preparing, something to think about, just as you would plan for the hospital and the plan for what the nursery is going to look like. I think it's important to have a plan in your head or on a piece of paper, maybe, if you're a planner type A kind of gal, of what this postpartum time is going to look like. Now, if you are a type A and you like lists and plans and printable documents, there's a really great link with Earth Mama, and it's called a lying in plan, and we'll include that information in the description below. But basically what it is, it gives you a place to think about and then put down on paper what your expectation and your goals are for your postpartum period. So whether you have a week or 2 weeks off, or whether you have 6 weeks off, or you don't have to go back to work. This will kind of help you utilize your time to be with baby and to help yourself remember that this is a really special time. And I know before I had babies, people were like, oh, it's going to be so special. And I'm like, but it really is. You're not ever going to get this time again with your baby in this capacity at all. And it's really sweet. And it's really important. So anyway, back to the list, to the planning, so you can identify who your helpers are going to be and what their job's going to look like. So if you're anything like me, it's kind of hard to relinquish a little bit of that control. Like, I like my laundry folded a certain way, and I like my vacuum lines to look a certain way, and I like my kitchen to look a certain way. Do I sound like a type A? I might be just a little bit in some areas, but I'm particular about the way I like things done, and so it's hard for me to relinquish a little bit of that control. And then as another example, we have some food sensitivities and preferences that make mealtime potentially challenging for other people, not for us because we've figured out our groove, but to ask someone else to cook that way is, kind of a big deal, I think. Anyway, so it's hard to relinquish a little bit of that control, but this lying in plan that Earth Mama has is basically going to help you identify your helpers. And so you're probably going to want to pick people that you're close with that you don't mind inconveniencing a little bit, like your best friend or your parents or, the neighbor who's like, I'll do anything or whatever. And then you say, okay, neighbor, here's a list of things that I'd like from this store. Maybe ask them to go to the store for you 2 or 3 times in the first couple weeks or whatever. And then here best friend, can you please come over and clean my bathroom? And so that is going to free you up to be in your room with pretty much nothing on, in the bed with the baby. So I mentioned being in the room with not many clothes on. Yeah, I know that Western society, we're kind of a little bit prude is a word that I have heard used about nakedness and all that. But listen, your baby just spent 10 months, they say 9, it's really 10, in your body, being as close to you as like your internal organs. I mean, we're talking smashed up in there. And so they were used to just your heartbeat and being close to you and feeling cocooned and safe and all that. And then all of a sudden, they're born and we're like, here's a diaper and some awesomely comfortable clothing. Mom has clothes on too, and we're gonna hold each other like this. And they're like, wait a minute, where's the heartbeat? Where's the smell? Where's the boobs? What's going on here? So my suggestion is be in your room, have the door shut, do not disturb sign on the door or whatever, if it's just your family, who really cares, and just maybe have on those awesome underwear from the hospital or just a comfy pair of boxer shorts and just be there. Have the ladies free for the baby to nuzzle and to be close to and to smell, and this is the time that you're going to look at each of their little fingers and toes and how's their belly button doing, and the dimples on their butt cheeks, and whose nose do they have, whose chin do they have. This is when you are drinking in your baby, because life is eventually going to get really fast again, and this is when we get to know our babies and when our babies get to know us. So lastly, I want to also encourage you mamas who maybe just had a baby and you're in your house watching this video and you're like, I don't feel very attached to my baby. I want to encourage you and let you know that it's okay. It's all right. As I mentioned earlier in the video about our postpartum depression video, it's okay if that's where you feel like you're at. There are amazing resources out there, and I encourage you that if you are feeling sad or crying or you just can't seem to quite get it all together and you're not so sure about this baby, talk to someone. It doesn't even have to be professional. It can be your best friend or your mom or another mom that you know, and just talk to somebody, because getting those feelings out there and having them, there's a pretty good chance that they might be like, yeah, I kind of felt that way too. That was what happened with me. I reached out to one of my really good friends and she was like, yeah, I had a little bit of the baby blues too. She said it's hormones and you're overwhelmed and you're tired. And that was really what I needed to kind of just be like, okay, I'm not a bad mom. I'm not a horrible person because I don't feel this gushing, amazing attachment to my baby, which it did come a little later. But it made me feel better to know that I wasn't alone. So if you feel that way, I will tell you, you are not alone. Talk to your friends, talk to people that you trust, and just know that it will get better. It doesn't make you a bad mom, doesn't make you a bad person. It just makes you a hormonal person, like me. And it will get better, I promise you. You've been gifted an amazing little baby, and you will get to the point where you gush, trust me. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you liked it, please click like, and if you know someone who is about to have a baby or just had a baby and you feel like sharing, I would be honored If you wanted to spread this around, that would be great. We have a Facebook page and we have a blog, so if you'd like to check us out there, go right ahead. We'd love that. And lastly, I would love to have you as a subscriber. If you subscribe, you will get an email when we put out a new video, which is every week. We've got over 100 videos about babies and family and food and poop and all kinds of stuff. I mean, it's a family channel, so it's what we do around here. We'd love to have you join us in our journey. So hope you guys are doing really well, and thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next week.